What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another video brought to you by the League FFB. Today, we are talking trade reviews. We got trades in here from our Discord. These are subscriber submitted trades. So we're going to be reviewing these, giving our input on these. And I do want to apologize just ahead of time. Just got back from vacation. This is the first video we're doing back. I did get a little bit sick, so if the voice sounds a little raspy, if there's a cough here and there, I apologize. I did get sick on my way back home, so am fighting that. But let's get right into the Discord. I don't want to waste any time. So, like I said, these are submitted straight from the Discord. I'm going to pull it up right now. You see it, and what we do here is we just take really the input from you guys. We need to know the teams, scoring, format, all of that stuff, and then we're just going to review it. So, you see Alex 82 right here. This is a 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. And first trade we got right here. You need to charge your phone right here, Alex. Let me zoom in on this if I can. Looks like I can't. So what we have is the 102 for DK Metcalf, a 24 first and a 24 second. And right away, I lean the DK Metcalf, the 24 first and the 24 second side. The only way that I could possibly justify this is if you need, like, absolutely need a quarterback and you believe that the quarterback that you can take at 102 is going to be a superstar. But if you don't believe that you're getting a superstar at 102, I'm taking DK Metcalf, a young asset, and the 2 picks next year and just keeping it pushing. So that's really how I am going on this first trade. On his second trade here, you see it's Mark Andrews for Kyle Pitts. Pretty self-explanatory. He did say rebuilding, so I'm going to take Kyle Pitts, man. He's a little bit younger. I know he hasn't lived up to the expectations, and I'm not the biggest Kyle Pitts truther. Love me some Mark Andrews, but this is Dynasty, and Kyle Pitts does have the ceiling. He does probably have more value in this trade. So I will go Kyle Pitts, especially in a rebuild situation. And then lastly, Alex P82. He's going to be receiving a 25 second and the 310. He's going to be sending Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm taking Juju, man. I think that the 25 second is just way too far out in the future, and the 310 is not super valuable to me at all, especially in 12-team Superflex. So I'm going to take Juju. He is the wide receiver one there in New England now, and I know this trade might have been before he went to New England, but he's the wide receiver one in New England. He's going to be decent for fantasy football. I just don't think that this is enough value to get off of a guy that's going to see 100+ targets this year, assuming he's healthy the whole season. So I am going Juju Smith-Schuster on this side. Now, Alex, again, he says 1 month ago I traded the 208 for Akers. I'm assuming it is still 12-team Superflex PPR. It is the 404, 24 third, and a 25 first for Akers and Thomas. And I don't fault you for doing this, especially if you're rebuilding, because Akers and Thomas are not long-term assets. Long-term, getting a 25 first is a little bit different to me than getting the 25 second that you got in the last deal. Those first just are a little bit more valuable. I just don't like that you have to wait the 2 years for it. It is a long time to wait on a return on investment, but as a rebuilder, I guess this is a trade that I'm okay with you making. Definitely as a contender, I'm more than okay to give away that 25 first to secure 2 guys that can score some points, even though I'm not a fan of either of them. But I do think if you're rebuilding, this is a solid trade for you to make in this situation. We have Dubridge. He has 10 teams, Superflex, tight end premium, half PPR. He is a competitive team. So he's going to get the 208 for Sam Howell, and I like it, Dubridge. I also am trying to send Sam Howell away for a second round pick in 2023 as well. So I think that there's some buzz about Sam Howell. I do like Sam Howell. Was a big fan of him at North Carolina. At one point, he was my QB1 in last year's class. He didn't end up finishing that way, and the draft capital definitely didn't help. But there's some buzz that he may be able to compete for the starting job this offseason. If it's just Jacoby Brissett that he does compete with, I think he wins it. But I don't think Sam Howell is a long-term asset for Dynasty Fantasy Football. He could be a starter this year. Maybe he impresses and holds on for one more, but I really don't see Sam Howell as being a franchise quarterback in the NFL. But hopefully he proves me wrong on that one, because I do like Sam Howell. I am a fan of Sam Howell, and I do roster some Sam Howell. So with that being said, though, I do lean the 208 side. I think there's going to be some decent players there at that 208 that can just help your team a little bit more, especially as a contender, like you said, you are in that league. So I am going to lean the 208 side. Then you have a 12-team Superflex PPR competing team as well. And on this one, it looks like Papa Foggle is going to be getting Russell Wilson, Chase Claypool in the 201. Dubridge is going to be getting Dak Prescott in a 24 third. And I really like the Dak Prescott side here. If you've been tapped into the content, you know that I'm probably a little bit higher than the consensus on Dak Prescott. I do think Dak Prescott is a low-end QB1 for fantasy football. I do have him ranked in my top 10 to 12 quarterbacks for Dynasty Fantasy Football. That 201 to me is solid. Russell Wilson should take a step forward with Sean Payton there. But at the end of the day, man, I think Dak Prescott is the best player on the board. So I will be leaning that side. I like this trade. I like moving off of Russell Wilson for Dak Prescott if all it's going to take is that 201. And you do still collect that third and 24. So maybe you just move back around and back a year, and that's what you got. So I do like your side here for Dak Prescott, Dubridge, especially as a contender. And then we have another one from Dubridge, and he has what he says is a 10-team Superflex tight end premium PPR, hopes to be competing. And he traded the 109 away for DeAndre Swift and the 24 second. And this one's a little bit tougher in my opinion. Actually, you see my little icon here. I'm in this league with him. And he says he hopes to be competing because it's a startup. It's shortly after startup. So we'll see what happens. But I think, honestly, in this trade, I think I'd rather just have. I don't know, man. I think I'm looking at it as the 109. It's super flex. You have probably your 4 quarterbacks off of the board, JSN off of the board, both running backs, Gibbs and Bijan off of the board. So that's 8. Now you're looking at like QJ Addison. So 109 is going to be one of those 2 guys, or do you want DeAndre Swift in a 24 second? And I think for me, it's probably just whether you believe in DeAndre. I think the value of the trade is here on your side, Dubridge. I do think that you're getting more value there. I just don't want to roster DeAndre Swift at this point unless I'm getting him for a significant discount. And I feel like the 109 is not a significant discount. But I think the value definitely sits on your side of the trade here. It's not a bad deal. It's probably a fair deal. I could see either side taking a win on this one, but I think the value sits here with Swift in the second. If you're sick of Swift, like I know some people are, and I think Brandon might be, the 109 is where it's at for you, just to reset and go get somebody else young and retry it all over again. So I see either side. I think you're going to gain more value with the bridge or with the Dubridge side here. So that's probably the side that wins on paper. We'll see what that 109 turns into. But for now, I think on paper, Swift in the second wins. And then we also have this trade by Space and Feld. And it's going to be Wan'Dale Robinson and a 24 first for George Pickens Says 12-team Superflex, half PPR, start 10. I hope. All the assets being traded are young, so I don't think it matters if you're rebuilding or contending. I hope that this 24 first is projected late. Or I hope that for your sake, it's projected early. Because if this is early, I'm going to lean the Wandell and the early 24 first side. Now, if this is mid to late, I prefer the George Pickens side because I think Pickens is probably better this year and next year than a mid to late 24 first prospect. Wandell, he's valuable right now, and I have Wandell in a lot of leagues, but I think he's slowly going to just get his value diminished more and more as the offseason goes on. I'm not a big fan of Wandell Robinson. Really coming out of college, I wasn't a big fan of him, and I think you've seen it already. They're going to add wide receivers this offseason. They've added one to free agency. They're adding Slayton back. They're going to draft one, I think, too. Like, Wandell is getting a lot of competition here. They just got Darren Waller added over there. Like, Wandell Robinson is a sell right now to me. George Pickens, he's super hyped up. I think he could be something solid, but I still don't even know if he's the best wide receiver on his team. Um, I think Deontay Johnson's the best wide receiver on that team. And I know that's going to get me a lot of hate from the George Pickens stands because they're out here and they're going crazy. But that is the way that I break down this trade. I'm hoping this is early to late. If this is early to late, I lean the space and field side. Uh, if I mean early to Yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? You say, I want it an early first. If it's not an early first, I'm going the George Pickens side. That's really the way that I'm leaning. And I'm sorry that I just confused you when I said that, but that is really the way that it's going for me. So Wandell's a sell. I don't love Wandell. Hopefully the 24 first is early because I want that to be Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison. Uh, and that's really my top three right now. That's where I want it to be. If it's not one of those, I'd rather just have George Pickens right now. So I think it's a fair trade, but hopefully that 24 first is early. That's the way I look at it. And then we have the last trade here. Dubridge again. He says 12-team Superflex PPR competing, and he gets the 209, gives up James Robinson, running back for the New England Patriots now, and a 2024 fifth. And on this one, I do agree with this trade for you, Dubridge. I would rather have the 209 and take a new shot at a new running back or a new wide receiver or a tight end or whatever it's going to be. I'd rather just shoot my shot again rather than waiting on James Robinson. And I think New England's a solid destination for James Robinson to go. I think he's going to be fine there in New England. Ramondre Stevenson's the guy. But like I said, I would rather just shoot my shot with a player at 209, or you say you're a competing team, hold that 209, let it get a little bit more value, let it get a little bit, let people get a little bit more rookie fever. And then as you get closer to draft day, sell that 209 for an asset that can help you contend that's a little bit better than James Robinson. And maybe that's selling that 209 to somebody who has a Keenan Allen or a DeAndre Hopkins and adding a little fluff to it to make something happen to have you have a real piece that can really contend for you and you can flex every single week. That's probably something that I would be looking to do. Or hell, maybe you can take that 209 and send it to a guy who has Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, somebody who's just sick of these, fluff it with a 24 second or something like that, and then try and buy low on one of those running backs that it seems like nobody wants to roster right now. And maybe you could buy low on one of them because they will definitely help you contend this year more than James Robinson will. So I like the liquidity of going to get a pick, especially that second round pick. And I don't mind you getting off of James Robinson. So that is how I would view that trade there. And let me pull this off the screen because I want to talk to y'all for a second. But that will conclude our trade reviews. I think this is episode 4 of them. So if you want to have your trades reviewed, join the Discord. The Discord is free. Yes, free 99. You don't got to pay a thing for it. It is linked in the description. It is also linked in the channel banner. So go over there, click on that, join the Discord, post your completed trades. I say completed. We need to see both parties accepted, or it has to have that trade completed like you see. And we will review those for you. We do a trade episode bi-monthly, so 2 times a month. And really, that's what we do, man. So I hope you guys enjoy the content. If you do enjoy the content, the best thing you can do for me is like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the content, and comment on the content. So if you do those things for me, it'll help us out. It'll help the YouTube algorithm, and then it'll help our channel grow. So hopefully we can reach a broader audience and we can help more people win their Dynasty Fantasy Football leagues, because ultimately that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to win as many championships as possible, and I want to help you guys win those championships along the way. So more videos coming soon. Uh, I've been trying to balance all of this, man. I have work trips that I have to go on. All this other stuff, but I'm banging out content all weekend long, trying to front load some of this. So if some of this feels outdated over the next week, because we're going to have stuff developing all day, every day for free agency. If some of it feels outdated, it's because I recorded it this weekend, because I go to Baltimore for a work trip this week. So hopefully that content doesn't feel too out of date. I don't think it will, because I don't have any content planned that's going to require some of that. But live stream coming on Sunday, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Hop up in there. We're going to be talking about free agency, our reactions, some analysis, some fantasy landing spots, all of that stuff. We're going to be talking all of that. And let's keep growing this thing, man. So I appreciate you guys all for checking it out. I will see you on the next video. Peace.